Yeah, oh. Hi everyone, today we have my 1969 Ford Mustang, but it doesn't start, and it actually hasn't started in over 24 years. Today, we're going to attempt to fix that though. The first problem is that this is here, and we need it here. So you're in for a treat today. Let's get a cold start of the 68 Camaro. It might take just a little bit to start, but it'll start. I'm actually so shocked it started on the first try. This is everything I got. Hopefully it's everything I need to get the Mustang started. So I have some oil, I have 7 spark plugs because they didn't have 8, but that's fine, I'll make it work. PB blaster, remote starter, empty gas tank, which I need to go get fuel, and some coolant. Second problem is to make this engine bay area a little bit more hygienic because there's a lot of spider webs, loose dirt, and what looks like rat shit. So I'm just going to take a vacuum and clean up as much as I can. I cleaned up as much as I could. It still looks like shit, but better than it did before. So I ended up finding this hose while cleaning, and then also there's many areas here where there's like vacuum lines and hoses that should be there, but they aren't. So I don't know what this means for the startup. I guess I'm just gonna try to go online and see if I can see where everything belongs. A few issues. This fuel line is missing the hose that will connect it all the way over here in the carburetor, but that's fine. This PVC valve is also missing a hose that will connect it back to the carburetor. This big hose is ripped and it needs to go all the way over here, so I can replace that. And there's also a vacuum line missing from the distributor to the carburetor. But I'm confident I can get that fixed though. So here's where the monkey throws the wrench. The distributor isn't connected, but that's fine. I can figure out where that goes. But you see this distributor, it's doing nothing. It's just placed on there. And I also need new wires. I'm going to look online and see if I can find these parts at my closest auto store. I need a new distributor, I need wires, I need hoses. This isn't what I was expecting, but you know, what can I do? Luckily, I was able to find everything I needed. So we have a distributor, spark plug wires, hoses, and I finally put some fuel inside. Hopefully, I don't need anything else now. So since that's going to take some time, I'm going to drain the oil and also the radiator fluid in the meantime, and then get back to this. Well, scratch draining the radiator fluid because there's nothing in there. So back to the auto store I go, but I'll worry about that once I drain the oil. Okay, I don't know what to expect from this, but I checked the oil sometime last week and it was brown and it smelled like gas. I'm really curious how much oil is actually in here. And, oh, yeah, oh, I don't know what kind of oil this is unless back in 1969 they used what may look like fuel mixed with oil in their cars. Like, what the heck? What is that? Honestly, I am so confused because it looked like water, it didn't smell like fuel, then it turned brown, then it looks like a chocolate milkshake. I have no idea what's going on. I may or may not have forgotten to empty this. Oopsie. I think I already know the answer to this question. It's probably not worth trying to start up this engine after that, but I wasted all this time. I'm still gonna try it anyways. So let's continue. This is the aftermath of removing the oil filter from this Mustang. So it took me and Chris a lot of tries. I first tried with these clamps, it wasn't budging. It just kept squeezing it and then it ripped through. Tried with like a pry bar and a hammer, that didn't work. It wasn't until someone on a Gen 1 forum, on a Gen 1 Mustang forum suggested, just put a screwdriver all the way through and then that'll unscrew it. And that did the trick, but look what happened. I mean, at least it worked, you know? I already have this mess, what's that? I have a new filter, Motorcraft, because why not? And at this point, I'm just going to keep working as if the car is gonna turn on, but in reality, I have very low expectations. I already replaced that lower radiator hose, so now it's time to fill it up with some coolant. I already have 3 bottles of water inside the radiator. This is my last bottle of this Gatorade coolant. It's not enough, I know, but I just don't want to go through the whole hassle of having to drain this whole radiator when I pull the engine. Now that the radiator already got its dose of Mountain Dew Baja Blast, so I'm just going to pull these wires and then the distributor as well, so I can go ahead and replace it. This is just so easy. I'm saying it's easy, but who knows, maybe I'll be disappointed in a few hours. And this is the easiest part because it was never placed on there correctly. Wasn't connected, nothing. It was just sitting there looking pretty. Removing all of these spark plugs now. I really wonder how they're gonna look like and if these are 24-year-old spark plugs or if they've ever been replaced. By the looks of it, I don't think so. Seems like they neglected this engine, but I guess we'll find out. Gosh, 24 years later and 1 spark plug comes off. So I really don't know the order of these cylinders, but I'm just gonna keep them in order as I remove them. Ah, fuck. All right, it's right here. I can't get a smell for it. Does it smell like fuel? I really don't think that in the 1960s they had a cordless ratchet, so you know, I'm doing it how they did back in the days. Putting in the work manually. Having a closer look at them, only the threads are wet, but the tips are all dry, so honestly, I think it looks pretty good. Someone in my previous Mustang video suggested that I take a look inside the heads just to see if there's any kind of gunk or buildup there. So you know what? Let's go ahead and try it today. I'm gonna go ahead and remove these valve covers and see how it's looking. That one was a little bit loose. Let's see how the other one is. Maybe they took a look inside and forgot to tighten the screws. I don't know. These bolts, I don't know. So nervous. I don't know what to expect. It could be bad. It could be good. Let's see what this surprise is. What a relief. This looks completely normal. I was a little bit scared. I'm just like wondering still, what was that in the oil pan? All that water, I wasn't expecting that, but this is a-okay. So maybe, just maybe, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Okay, so this seems easy enough. I've seen a few videos, and in order to put the distributor where it should be for timing, I need to move the crank. I have my finger inside cylinder 1, the spark plug hole. And as I'm moving this, I need to stop once I start feeling some pressure. And that means it's, oh gosh, that means it's on the compression stroke. So then I stop, and then that's where I placed the distributor. The distributor is in, the rotor is pointing to 1, which was a little bit confusing because as I was moving the crank, I'm assuming, okay, this feels like top dead center with the pressure to the finger like I showed you. But if it wasn't for this diagram that I found online, I would have never actually understood it. So the first cylinder is here, but this actually works counterclockwise that way. So, and then as soon as I put this in, it actually moved a little bit and it stayed in place. So it's all good. I still don't know if the car's gonna turn on, but we will see. So one of the YouTube videos I saw, the guy said that some of the distributors are numbered, but this one wasn't numbered. Luckily, again, this diagram is saving me because it's not how you would think. So maybe there's no light at the end of the tunnel for today because as I'm working on this, I think, where does this go? And then I realized, well, I'm missing something. So I go on YouTube and then I see, okay, there's something that should go in this area here and I don't have that. So I'm missing an ignition coil, and without an ignition coil, then I have no spark. So without spark, I can't turn it on. That and fuel, so I need to address that. I also need to run the fuel line to the carburetor with the external canister because I just don't trust the gas in this car and also the gas tank. So I got a little bit desperate because I wanted to see some action because this is just another disappointment. So I have the remote starter here. It's connected, so let's go ahead and hear it. All right. So I am so happy that at least it rotates, which I would have already known because when I was timing the distributor, obviously it moved. And also I know that the starter is fine, so there's no issue with that. So if looks like it may start. I don't know, but I have my hopes up. I finally have an ignition coil. Unfortunately, I can't place it on the engine because two of the possible areas where I can place this ignition coil, it's missing the bolt. This is the bracket for the ignition coil. So the first area where it could go is up right here or laying down here. And neither of those areas have a bolt where I can mount this on. But I mean, this engine is already missing a lot of things, so I'm not surprised. So since there's nowhere else to put it, I figure I'm just going to lay it here for now, and that'll be it. But first I need to connect the negative to the negative. All right, so that's connected. We're gonna lay it here. I don't know, I don't know how to feel about a lot of things missing from this engine, but you know, it is what it is. One of these has to be the positive. I'm guessing it's not white. There's red and orange, so I am just gonna go with red and then connect this here, and then we're gonna hope for the best. I figure if it doesn't work, then I'll just try another cable. I'll go for the orange next. This is the second to last step, I think, in getting the Mustang to turn on. And I really don't like how this cable job is looking. It really bothers me. But at this point, I'm more concerned about seeing if everything that I'm doing is going to finally have this, well, going to finally allow this Mustang to turn on. The last thing, I think the last thing before this is just to add fuel to it, and it should turn on. It is missing a few lines and hoses, but I don't think they're necessary to get the car turned on, but I guess we'll see. I lied, the second to last thing is adding this hose from the carburetor to the fuel line. And I know I cut it too short, but it should work. There we go. And I know I'm not using an inline filter, but I'm not worried about that because my fuel is clean, it's coming straight from a canister. So this is what I mean about the hose being too small, because this curving right here is just a little bit too aggressive. Kind of reminds me of something at the track, but like I said, it's too small, but it'll do for now. Okay, let me give you a bit of a recap here with my rinky-dink job. So we have the new distributor, it's timed, hopefully. The vacuum line is connected from the distributor to the carburetor. We have new wires, new spark plugs. We have an ignition coil connected. It may or may not be connected correctly though. We have the gas tank bypass with the canister. Fuel line is connected. We have oil in the engine and we have coolant. The only thing missing is to connect the battery. I'm feeling all types of emotions. I'm nervous, but I'm also excited because I don't know what the outcome is going to be. So it might be good, it might be bad, or it might be worse. There might be a fire. So I have Chris nearby with a fire extinguisher just in case anything happens. The interesting thing is that this remote starter now has a red light, which I'm gonna take it as a good sign, but at the same time, it might be red like stop. So let's go ahead and try it. This seems like this is gonna be the detonation button. Oh gosh, I'm so nervous. Here it goes, oh gosh. 1, 2, 3. Let's try it again. What is going on? This is a very sad ending to this YouTube video. I honestly thought that I could get this car to turn on, but it didn't. I mean, everything that I've done here is everything that I've seen other people on YouTube do, and it just didn't work out. So of course, there were a lot of things missing when I got this car. There still is, but I think that everything that I've actually replaced and added to this car was everything I needed to get it started. Maybe there's something else that I'm missing. I retimed the distributor, I redid all the wiring. I even checked all of these positive cables to the engine coil, and there's only one that works, which is the red one. So my first guess, it gives it spark. I also jumped the battery to give it more juice, but no luck. And for peace of mind, I decided to remove a spark plug, and indeed, this confirms that there is spark because it's no longer a clean, shiny spark plug. I also decided to take it a little bit further and remove the fuel pump, remove this fuel line, just because I wanted to make sure that there's nothing stuck there that will prevent the fuel from going in, but there wasn't. So I feel like there has to be something else that I'm missing. I just don't know what it is. I even tried turning it on with a key, but it didn't work. It is just completely dead. If you guys have any ideas, let me know in the comments down below. This engine might be coming out a lot sooner than I expected, so that's it for now. It's a sad bye.